Well, hello everyone. I'm Robin Kaplan. I am here today to talk about our San Diego chapter of our NIP, Nursing in Public Task Force. So a little bit about how this got started. In 2013, there were unfortunately a few events happened in San Diego, some nursing and public harassment incidents that happened, and it became very clear that we needed to do something as a community to make sure that we could stop this from happening on a regular basis. So I reached out to some local moms in our community and for some assistance. We had our first meeting in March of 2013 to create the resources on our Nursing in Public Task Force page on our San Diego Breastfeeding Center website. And so up until now, it's been solely managed by me, which is something that I really want to change, which is why we're having this meeting today. So real briefly, I just want to introduce my other mamas on board who are here today. I reached out to Erin Esteves, who is OG Mamacita, and Mary Jane Fisher. Hello, ladies. Both
Hello.
of them are huge local breastfeeding advocates, and they are here to help us produce this town hall meeting. Both of them are from the Mama Tribe Network, and they will be producing this hangout for today. So thanks so much for joining us, ladies, and thanks to everyone who is live here today.
Yeah, oh my gosh, we're so excited, and like you said, we love breastfeeding and we want to support all the moms. So thank you for letting us be a part of this.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm very excited. Anytime we can help a woman feel empowered with her body and her own life in society, I think it's a pretty kick-ass thing to do. So thank you, Robin.
Absolutely.
So Robin, I want to kind of, we're going to talk a lot about what the Nursing in Public Task Force is, and so let's just get right into this. And if you can, please just go over the goals of the Nursing in Public Task Force. And I know we have some slides we want to show, so we'll take it from there.
All right, fantastic. So the goals of the NIP task force are the ones that you see listed in front of you. So really to educate our local community about the California laws that protect a mother's right to breastfeed in public. It's amazing how many people do not know this law. It's also to provide support and guidance to moms who have dealt with a nursing in public harassment incident or discrimination. We really wanted to provide resources to empower moms. Erin talks about empowering, and that truly is one of the key components of the task force. So we wanted to be able to provide resources to educate them on their civil right to breastfeed in public, and also ways to handle a nursing in public harassment incident, as well as maybe some other ideas to prevent them from happening as well. And then we also really wanted to empower our local business owners. So by providing them resources they could integrate into their employee handbooks and their training manuals, so that they and their staff are not only compliant with the California law, but also know how to handle a situation as well if they have someone in their space who is complaining about a mom nursing in public, that they know the law and that they also can support and protect this mom's right in this space.
Okay.
So one of the other things I wanted to talk about as well is the California Civil Code. And so what this Civil Code states, this is California specific, but it's, as you can see in front of you, notwithstanding any other provisions of law, a mother may breastfeed her child in any location, public or private, except the private home or residence of another, which means that if you're in another person's home and they actually tell you, weirdly, that you can't breastfeed there, that's actually their right. And to continue on, where the mother and child are otherwise authorized to be present. So I kind of make the joke about this, like, you bring your baby to an over 21 bar, your baby's not supposed to be there, you decide to breastfeed your baby in this space, they actually have a right to ask you to leave because your child is not authorized to be there.
Right.
This code is actually fairly standard across most states. There's a wonderful website out there that I'd like to mention. It's called breastfeedinglaw.com, and you can look up your own state to find out what the law is there. The one thing that I do want to point out that makes California a little bit unique, and there are a few other states that have this as well, but we have something called an enforcement provision, which means that if a woman is breastfeeding in public, someone asks her to not do that, or she's asked to leave a restaurant, for example, she actually can petition or file a complaint with a federal Fair Employment and Housing Commission. That's what I was trying to say. And so they can actually investigate the situation if it's not able to be handled by something such as the Nursing and Public Task Force. Not all states have this, which means that if a woman is asked to leave a restaurant, even though it is her right to stay there, there's nothing really due to support her for recourse. So it's really important to kind of check out the breastfeeding law website to find out what the law is in your state, or if you're visiting a state, what that law is, as well as if there's an enforcement provision if something does happen where there's a nursing and public harassment incident.
Right. Yeah, because that's one of the things is we're in San Diego, so you know, it's not necessarily the same in every other city or state, and so we'll have to, you know, help other cities and states kind of tailor and kind of figure out how they're going to do that. But this is how we can make this happen here in San Diego with that law. So that's awesome. All right, so
Erin, you're muted, just so you know.
I did not know, so thank you. I would say that what I found really interesting was I had no idea that in other states women could be arrested for breastfeeding in public. That blows my mind, you know.
Yeah, there are very few of them. Some of the states in the South actually have laws that only protect moms nursing babies up to a year, which is kind of weird as well. Like they've decided, well, after a year, then it's indecent exposure. But again, most states have a law that does protect a woman's right to breastfeed in public.
So that is basically what your NIP task force, what your goals are, and how the main idea for the force is?
Absolutely. So if you want to show the slide, and we can kind of talk about that. So the main ideas for and the goals for the NIP task force is really the idea is to educate before reacting. So you'll see here we want to maintain these online resources for community members and to prevent and ameliorate nursing in public discrimination, but we're also serving as local advocates for mothers who have faced harassment. So we want to help moms get to a point where the first thing that we jump to is, okay, how can we educate about this? How can we educate the community? How can we educate the business where the incident occurred? And not just jump straight to a nursing. Unfortunately, and you know, I've been in my share of nursings, they definitely serve a purpose, but oftentimes they're seen, they can be seen kind of negatively by the community, and so, or the business that's having the nursing in front of them. And so we really like to leave the nursing as the last step, so that way we can work with the community, educating them as a non-threatening way as possible. To really kind of make positive change.
Yeah, because we've got a lot of mamas in San Diego and, you know, state-wide and nationwide that are passionate. And so, you know, I know that you, Robin, you didn't want to, you know, diffuse that passion, but you wanted to kind of bring it into a way that we could have some steps to take in order to, you know, like don't bring out the torches just yet. Isn't that what we said yesterday, yeah. Erin?
Yeah, so I think that, you know, we're always given these steps and these techniques to do in case of different situations. You know, we're in school and we learn the stop, drop, and roll if you're caught on fire. Or if you're in a movie theater and the alarm goes off, you know you're supposed to follow the flashing lights. So, but people don't know what to do when suddenly you are harassed when you're at most ease breastfeeding your child somewhere that happens to be in public. So I'm really excited at the idea of these protocols, telling people what the steps should be to be the most diplomatic and to attempt to reach the most amicable and positive outcome. So I'll go ahead and stop talking, and I will give Robin her slide.
So, you know, when a mom is in a situation where there's been an incident, you know, first thing I've heard from most of the moms that I've worked with, first thing they do is they usually have like a little card, or they'll even pull up our website that shows the law and say, like, look, actually, I am allowed to be here. My baby's allowed to be here. I am able to do this. So essentially, the steps that you see in front of you, these protocols that the San Diego Nursing and Public Task Force has for handling an incident, is if the mom is unable to ameliorate the incident right there when it happens. So these would be situations where a mom ends up leaving feeling defeated, feeling harassed, feeling discriminated against, and feeling like she needs the assistance and support of the task force or other moms to figure out how I need to make the situation better because I left feeling horribly about this. So the first thing that we do as the task force is we contact the mom and get her full story. So usually we find out about these through Facebook. So mom posted on Facebook she had an incident, and then all the mamas jump on there when they're mama bears, like, how can we help you? How can we fix this? But usually the entire story is not on there, and so we can't really just start jumping to conclusions. We really need to get her story in her words. So first thing I do is, you know, we ask for her, not only her story verbally, but also in writing. The in writing part is really helpful, so that way when we contact the business, which is our next step, we send them an email as well as a letter. We want to use her words and what she felt happened, what her side of the story is. And so we contact the business, and we want to kind of go up the chain to find out, like, who is the top person that we need to speak to? Who is in charge of HR at this business? Who is the owner of this business? You know, whatever the structure of the business is. And then using a template that we have, we ask for a few separate things. So first thing we ask for is an apology, and a written apology to the mom for feeling discriminated against. The second thing we ask for is if we're able to assist them in writing a policy that is nursing and public friendly for their organization. We ask them if we can assist in training their staff. If a staff person was the one who made the incident occur. And then we give them about a week to respond. So sometimes we've been reached out, like sometimes their attorneys will reach out to us to handle the situation. Other times it'll just be the owner of the business. It really just depends. So the next step would be really kind of if the moms on Facebook have been talking about starting a nurse-in, we really ask them to postpone their plans, and we were very transparent and just explain, like, look, we're meeting with the business, we're trying to educate them, get their side of the story as well, and try to figure out, like, how can we use this as a learning opportunity rather than jumping straight to a nurse-in. And then this kind of unfolds in a couple different ways. The business could be responsive, which is usually the case, and then we meet with a contact at the business and go through those steps of talking about how to educate their staff, how to make a policy that's breastfeeding friendly, and then making sure that the mom feels like she received a really sincere apology. If the business is unresponsive, we'll post an article on our San Diego Breastfeeding Center blog, and then start sharing with social media. So given a little bit of pressure of, like, all right, we're not just joking here. Like, you have a whole bunch of irate moms who are ready to throw a nurse in front of your business. Are you sure you want to go that route? If the business is unresponsive after the article, then we call the main contact at the business to inform about the pending nurse-in. And then if the business is unresponsive to the phone call, which has really only happened once, then we organize a peaceful nurse-in, and we ask our local moms to, you know, all of them, the couple nurse-ins that have happened in San Diego in the past couple months have all been, they actually have all been received really, really well. but it's just essentially a bunch of moms who are saying, like, look, we've tried everything, we're not getting your attention, and this needs to be fixed. This mom feels disempowered, and that's not okay. And so unfortunately, sometimes our protocol, or not even unfortunately, but sometimes the protocol isn't followed exactly like it's explained right here. Maybe the mom has already contacted the media and held a nurse in already, and then we're called in, kind of like something that happened last year with the LA Fitness. And so mom kind of jump-started this whole process. But unfortunately, the nursing didn't get her the result that she had hoped, because the business still didn't feel like she was, I don't know, worthy of them contacting. So then we stepped in, and we actually got a really beautiful result from it. So again, it's just us providing whatever support we can, but we try to follow this protocol if at all possible, just because we found it has been the most successful and best received by the business or the organization that the incident occurred at.
Yeah. So one of the things I know that you want to have as a result of this hangout and future hangouts too is the passion that these mamas have. You can put that passion into work through these this nursing and public task force. So let's talk a little bit about these mamas that are so passionate and want to help other mamas, or want to make sure that they're taken care of as well when they go to breastfeed their baby out in public. So what is the nursing and public task force looking for? So that anyone watching, or anyone in the future that watches this, if they're not watching it live now, they can find out that, hey, maybe this is something that I should be involved in.
Absolutely. So we're at a really exciting time right now with the San Diego Nursing and Public Task Force, and essentially it's just every time there's a nursing and public incident, harassment incident, an outpouring of moms, they start sharing how much they want to help, like this mom in need, and how can we help her? How can we help the task force? And so this has just been kind of ruminating in my mind, like, all right, it's time to jump on this. How can we really grow this to not only help the moms in San Diego and businesses in San Diego as well become compliant with this code, this civil code, but also how can we create a nursing and public task force, or how can others create a nursing and public task force in their own community? So what we're really looking for is a team of core volunteers. So these range from lots of different projects that we're really interested in working on. The first one, project number 1, we're really looking for just a few local moms who want to be the incident volunteers. So when the incident happens, rather than me taking control of it, because honestly, these moms, I mean, they're so passionate. I want them to really embrace it and become, embrace the advocate in themselves. So these would be volunteers who really kind of step in as liaisons of the task force, and they contact the business. They follow through that protocol that was just listed in the slide before here that we just spoke about. So they would be the contacts that would contact the business and work with the moms to help kind of resolve this issue. So that's project number 1. Project number 2, I realize that this protocol doesn't even exist on our website, and that's a true shame, because it's something that we all can really rely on in our community and other communities as well, as how do we resolve this situation. So I'm looking for a few moms who would like to really grow the content on our website. So resources on how to remedy a nursing and public incident, things that moms can do on their own. There was an incident in San Diego a couple weeks ago where a mom had an incident up in one of our malls, and she actually didn't even contact the Nursing and Public Task Force. Someone else did, but by the time I got to her, she had already resolved the situation. She had called the HR department of the mall and handled it so beautifully that she didn't even need our help. And that's actually what I'm really hoping to do, is we're kind of like the fallback. We want to put this in the power back into mom's hands. So anyhow, our resources on our website need to be kind of beefed up, and so that's project number 2. Project number 3 is I'm looking for a design volunteer who can help design NIP task force business cards that have the breastfeeding law, the law that protects moms to pump at work. We have some info about you get to get out of jury duty, which is fantastic if you're a breastfeeding mom. And so we had some business cards that our local coalition had created, but the laws have changed since those business cards were printed. And unfortunately, our coalition doesn't have the money to print them now, but we definitely can. So I'm looking for someone or two people just to create some really nice cards that we can post on our website as well, so that way people in other communities can print them too, or use them as a guide if they want to create their own with their own state law. Project number 4, we're looking for volunteers who can help us seek some sponsorship. So for those mamas who maybe have grant writing in their past or just really love or passionate about breastfeeding in public and know some colleagues that might be interested in donating some money, so that way what we could do is really expand our resources that could be shared widely. And that main resource that we're looking at is project number 5, which is niptaskforce.org. So this is a URL that I purchased about a month ago in anticipation of this Hangout. And essentially, I would like to take the resources off the San Diego Breastfeeding Center website and put it on a more national website that people can use not only in San Diego but throughout the United States. And so I'm looking for a web creator volunteer. My hope is that whomever is volunteering for project number 4, who is seeking sponsorship, I would love to create a paid position for project number 5, this website, so that way it would have not only the resources we've already created, but really expand it, so that way it's something that people all over the United States can use to create their own local NIP task forces. So those are the projects that I'm excited about. We're always interested in adding more, but these are really the ones that I think would be most beneficial at this point. And I would love my Mama Tribe to come out and see if we can really grow this to be as beautiful as it can be. So.
Yeah, definitely. I think that, I mean, gosh, there's like so many moms that are just so I mean, either you're breastfeeding and you're out and day to day, and I mean, so you deal with this, and so that creates the passion. But then, for me, where I have a 3.5-year-old and we're nursing every now and then, and I'm really not out in public that much. I mean, but still I'm passionate, so there's a way to move that passion into some sort of advocacy for these mamas, or advocacy for yourself.
Absolutely.
I'm just really excited at the prospect of being able to make this more normal, bringing in the normalization of it, and the more it's seen, the more normal it becomes. So
yes, normalize breastfeeding. So all right, so one of the things that we want you guys that are watching this either live, you can post your questions to us, and we're going to have more of these hangouts to discuss about the task force. And we're hoping that this will, I know, Robin, when you came to us, you want this to be started here in San Diego, and it did start here in San Diego, but we want, any mom anywhere that breastfeeds, there should be a task force where they are. So we want to eventually just be able to, give people like a blueprint of how they can make this happen. And so one of the things that I was thinking, if you can maybe answer, because like I said, we want your questions. If you don't have them now live for us, then definitely you can. We have the event page on Google Plus. It's going to be there forever. So just post your questions there. We have, Facebook has the San Diego Nursing and Public Task Force Facebook page. So post your questions there. You can tweet us, and the hashtag that we're using is the hashtag NIP. Isn't that what we decided to go with? What was it?
at San Diego NIP Task Force.
I think it was NIP Task Force was what we were going to go for. Was that right, Robin?
I think so, yes.
Okay, cool. So NIP Task Force is, where you can put your tweets out and hashtag to that. So, just get your questions to us because we'd love to answer them in future Hangouts. But one of the things, I know we only have a few more minutes here, but so if you are in a city where you check the breastfeeding law and there isn't a law that protects a mom to nurse in public, do you know, Robin, where a mom can get started to do that? Because that's the first thing you need, right?
Absolutely. I mean, truly, I'm to my knowledge, I think there are only 2 states that don't have a law that protects a mom to breastfeed in public, and I apologize, off the top of my head, I can't think of what they are. I have it on our website somewhere. But so to get that into law, I mean, essentially you have to connect with some sort of congresswoman, congressman to show the need for it. But what I would recommend is kind of reaching out to other organizations in different states to find out how they actually accomplished getting that. There is a federal law that protects everyone, across the states, and so that's something that we can always fall back on. Oftentimes, the state laws are more, are even more protective than the federal law, but you can always fall back on the federal law. And as for starting a nursing and public task force in your community, if you already have a law in place, it really is a matter of just collecting a bunch of mamas and really just kind of getting the word out, usually through, most of our cities or towns have these private Facebook groups of moms that are all sitting and chatting about all different types of issues of parenting, not even breastfeeding in, specific. And so this would be a place where you could start talking about it and asking those questions like, are we having an issue with breastfeeding in public? Like, should we create a resource for our community? And then, feel free to use all of the resources that we have now as well as the ones that we're going to be adding as a blueprint, like you said, MJ, to really creating your own task force in your community. It doesn't have to be an IBCLC, a lactation consultant. It doesn't have to be a doula, a midwife. I mean, moms have power, and so you don't have to have letters behind your name as a breastfeeding advocate to be one. So it really is just getting a couple of women together and coming up with a plan on when there's an incident, how you're going to help step in and resolve it.
Yep. Awesome. Okay, cool. Because I see this. You're the founder, so this is the start. San Diego, we're going to develop it, we're going to get everything going, and then it's just going to branch out because I don't know any place that really is welcoming 24 hours a day of breastfeeding moms out in public. So it's going to be needed.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, I'm going to toss it to Erin since she's been sitting there so patiently. Did you learn that from your son?
No, I think I learned it from the choking that's happening right now.
Oh, no.
I was trying to be nonchalant and pretty disappointed that you tossed to me there for a second, MJ. But
Sorry.
That this went well otherwise, and we are out of time, and as MJ said, we will be coming back, and we're really grateful to everybody who came with us today, got it live, and those of you who will watch it later. Retweet. Sharing is caring. And Robin, I want to thank you for all of your efforts, and I really appreciate everything you do. You're the boo guru.
Yeah. Thank you. I do my best.
Well,
but, yes.
Awesome. Well,
San Diego loves you. Yeah, San Diego loves you, and we've got a huge mama tribe here. Some of us are real close knit. Some of us just need to get put together, and so hopefully this will put some of the mamas that are needing a tribe and want one. This may help them find their tribe. So,
awesome.
All right. Okay, girls. Well, we'll hang out again because this is not the last hangout.
Awesome.
So,
Thanks for joining.
thank you, and pay attention to your social media, folks.
Okay. All right, we'll be back for another Nursing in Public Task Force HOA in the future, but let us know your questions.
Signing out.
Okay, thanks, girls.
Bye.